to go ahead and begin the live stream now. I'm just gonna, today I'm just gonna be laying out, the full documented timeline of what happened with the Christchurch pipeline involving Angelo, Jeremy Stevenson, Mike, David Long at Hawkeye Dynamics, and how it led to the $4,500 loss of silver, that I was planning to use for the private Antarctica expedition. So this is all part of the public ledger that I am now continuing to build upon. I'm not here to rant or attack anyone. I'm just here to observe, the pattern, right, on record with the facts and the timelines, right, the official timeline rather. And it started back in 2022. Angelo first reached out to me at that time on Telegram when I would frequent these Primal Diet Telegram servers. And over the years, right, he maintained consistent contact. His character to me was very convincing. He would alternate between friendly, seemingly rational phases, talking about saving silver, working hard at his construction job, and sounding excited about the expedition or other research subjects that we would go over. And then he would flip, to these sudden aggressive phases or into extreme black pill nihilism. He pushed no hope. He claimed existence is FUCKED. Um, the soul trap theory, for months, at the end of 2025, the beginning of 2026, he was looping this script from this character known as the Reaper. He goes by Reaper on YouTube. It's one of these soul trap theories, and that whole channel just talks about loops the same script every video, that consciousness itself is a curse, right? So that's that channel script, and that's why it's so repetitive on the Reaper Soul Trap Theory channel. Yeah, so the only thing this network can do is rub salt in the wound symbolically. So they will continue to flood the chat with either deflections, diversions, smear campaigns, dehumanization campaigns, or they will that's their only option narratively. Either that or freeze out silence. They do that sometimes when the subject is especially sensitive, such as Alex Tilgman's death in 2018. You want to talk about your network's symbolic body count? Yeah, that's disgusting. The fact that this network hangs deformities, death, financial sabotage. It's fine. The network can keep doing it. I mean, the ledger continues to build, and it becomes more and more apparent by the day and transparent for anybody able to see. And I mean, you've lost narrative control. Your network has lost narrative control. It's not going to get any better from here. And actually, there are some huge revelations that are coming, and a lot of people are going to potentially be very interested in seeing the logic, right, that's coming here. So anyhow, you know, I found Angelo's character to be quite convincing because he was playing the, persona of somebody that was mentally, distressed and all this. And yeah, he was promoting that Reaper channel, the Soul Trap Theory channel. So basically, Reaper's whole disinformation script is that consciousness itself is a curse. And yeah, during this time period, 2022, 2023, 2024, stuff like that, he also made, direct death threats directed at me during this time. And I pretty much didn't really hang those over his head too much because I thought he was just stressed out and confused, or I thought he was even, something of this nature. So, um, you know, so even after those threats, I tried to, I tried sincere reconciliation multiple times because the persona to me felt real, and he would stabilize again, act supportive, right? This typical scripted interactions that take place with these nodes, love bomb, then flip. It's psychological abuse, it's psych games. So then, as I started deeper research into McMurdo and private expedition logistics in late 2024, early 2025, following the documentary, right? Angelo ramped up, he personally pushed the Antarctica idea hard after my McMurdo documentary that was published on January 14th, 2025, to be exact. And during this time, this lull between January and August, really, I was just so exhausted from making the documentary and doing all this research for all these years. I was pretty exhausted, so to speak. So I was taking a break from looking more deeply into the dry valleys, McMurdo, or all that. I had just spent, the greater part of 2 weeks researching it every day, and I just needed, I just kind of was mentally checked out and all that. So, um, anyways, Angelo ramped up. He personally pushed the Antarctic cruise ship idea really hard in August 2025, and eventually routed me to Jeremy Stevenson at Quantum Metals in Christchurch for training partners in New Zealand. And originally, the whole idea was like he introduced me to Jeremy Stevenson by convincing me to purchase a few of his Veritasium quantum metal silver rounds with the NFT technology pretty much built into them or designed into them. Okay, so get to the next part here. So I purchased several of Jeremy's silver rounds in September 2025, I believe it was. And from there, starting in early to very late 2000, like pretty much December, January, February timeline, Jeremy through Angelo had connected me to Mike Pac-Man, uh, who repeatedly framed the whole arrangement and messages as a volunteer project, favor for Jeremy and Angelo, and Mike looped in David Long at Hawkeye Dynamics. So Angelo kept hyping Mike and David as the real truth tellers and drill instructors who would set me straight, beat me down basically, and show me what was observable in front of us. Angelo repeatedly called me delusional, stupid, and full of hope and cope at this time, while positioning the Hawkeye training as the only legitimate path. I removed Angelo the night before the first scheduled call in February this year, 2026, right? I removed him the night before our first scheduled call with Mike and David because of repeated boundary violations and leadership undermining. Mike expressed clear reluctance, as I referenced in my videos, that I posted yesterday and stuff like that, and also referenced today. Mike expressed clear reluctance in the messages and wanted Angelo kept in the loop. So get to this next part here. So then on March 18th, 2026, and Well, also, by the way, we had our 2-hour phone conversation and all that, or whatever, on the 21st. The initial conversation or whatever with Mike and David, and then so anyways, that happened, and then on March 18th, 2026, I sold just a bit over 63 ounces of silver at the local coin shop here to fund the first retainer, right? The service payment. I went to and did that at Jonathan K. Kern's shop here locally in Lexington, Kentucky. So that same day, March 18th, I took the $4,500 to my bank and I wired the money to, New Zealand or whatever. And yeah, anyways, after the money had cleared, the behavior clearly flipped as they got what they wanted. Anyways, let me get to the next part here. As you can see, they are flooding the chat with damage control, dehumanization smears, because they have to do this in real time. Otherwise, they risk losing control of the narrative to any potential new viewers that are tuning in tonight, right? That's how YouTube's algorithm works. When you live stream, you can potentially reach new viewers. They know that, so they flood the chat with smears to try to discredit myself or any target for that matter. It's narrative management. It's not genuine, it's not genuine criticism. So here, let me get to this next part. So immediately after the money cleared, the behavior flipped. I got a panic 4 a.m. call with strong pressure to delete my documentation, right? And all this stuff, right? And then the next day I had another call, right? And they pretty much were telling me, oh, I need to basically delete all your content and all this stuff. Demands for confidentiality, downplaying Aaron Haywood's threats. That's what happened the next day, right? After the 4 a.m. call, downplaying, or even during the 4 a.m. call, downplaying the Aaron Haywood threats and all that, and steering away from the private GCH route towards the Antarctic, New Zealand or whatever, and the national program and all that, right? So since I sent the formal refund request, David and Mike have gone completely silent. No response on email or Telegram. Angelo also has now deleted our entire chat history from Telegram and is denying any responsibility, saying things like, that's your problem. You sent the money, and your drama with others is your problem. So the full chain is now documented on the public ledger. Long-term grooming since 2022 in the case of Angelo, routing into the controlled pipeline, financial extraction of the silver I was using for the expedition, post-payment containment, and current denial and victim reversal. DARVO, deny, reverse, victim, and offender. So this wasn't a normal training course. It was a pre-positioned handler operation designed to steer and contain the private sovereign expedition. The ledger stands. All timelines, messages, and observed behavior are now recorded.